This is Your Anxiety Toolkit, episode number 156, but I consider it 157 because I just recorded 156 and it wasn't recording. So technically it still is 156, but there you go. Welcome to Your Anxiety Toolkit. I'm your host, Kimberly Quinlan. This podcast is fueled by three main goals. The first goal is to provide you with some extra tools to help you manage your anxiety. Second goal, to inspire you. Anxiety doesn't get to decide how you live your life. And number three, and I leave the best for last, is to provide you with one big, fat virtual hug. Because experiencing anxiety ain't easy. If that sounds good to you, let's go. Welcome back, guys. Okay, round two, let's do this one more time. Oh my goodness. So as I just mentioned, I just did a whole recording, realized I didn't press record, and so here we are again. But it's probably for the best because my thoughts are pretty streamlined now. I know what I want to say. Okay, I am going to take a break. I know a lot of you know this. I'm going to take a couple of months off to heal and to replenish and to restore and to rest and to open up to be a receiver of the things I haven't been able to be a receiver of. And so that's where I came to this decision. And I really wanted to share this with you today because I wondered if it's probably something you might want to consider doing too, not regarding taking a break, but having this conversation with yourself about the in-breath versus the out-breath. Now, let me explain. Number one, we are constantly taking on people's stuff. You're probably worrying about what people think of you. You're probably trying to make them feel better. You're probably wondering if they approve of you, trying to heal their anxiety and so forth. And all of that is sort of being taken on to you, right? So you're constantly sort of giving and giving and giving and giving. And that's sort of what I would consider the out breath, right? You're like, your energy is being sent out of you onto others. But what probably is happening, and I know for me, this is what's been happening, is I haven't been balancing that with enough in-breath. And I know I've spoken about this before, but I got to a place where since COVID-19, I've been working more than I ever have, writing more than I ever have, worrying about the world more than I ever have, missing my family more than I ever have, longing for normalcy more than I ever have. All of that is happening, and that's a lot. And what I was finding was I wasn't able to slow down enough to actually replenish, right? And yeah, things are slower right now. I don't have to commute, and I've actually got more time than I've ever had, but it still felt like it wasn't enough. And I went through this process where I thought, this is crazy, Kimberly. I know your body wants rest and more time and healing, and it's asking for something, but you've got more time than you ever have. And your husband's home full time now. So this doesn't add up. And I was ultimately judging myself because my body has been just saying, rest, please. Take some time. We need silence. We need some slowing down. We need some peace of mind here amongst a world where there is very little. And when I actually stopped judging myself or stopped judging my experience and just sort of accepted that my body is trying to tell me something, I was able to recognize that now more than ever, my body, as wise as it always is telling me to take more time, as human beings, we struggle to say, I want more, in terms of like, I'm taking more from people. Sometimes we shame that. We say, oh, that's not necessary. You're being selfish or you're being gluttonous or whatever it might be. But my whole body has been saying, I need more rest. There is incredible change happening and you need to slow down to reflect. And so because of last year, and you guys know what I went through last year with the crazy, crazy medical roller coaster, one thing I learned is you have to listen to your body. And if your body is telling you to rest and your soul is, having a difficult time catching up, you have to slow down. And what was really hard for me, and I know this is true for a lot of you, because I talk with my clients about this all the time, is when we have to accept that something needs to change, we often fight it at every step. Under all the conditions, we fight and we fight. And we're like, no, if only I could do this, then I should be able to do it. I should be able to do it. I'm weak if I can't, all the things. But I'm just going to say this. Check in and do an inventory, a quick assessment, and really connect with the kind, wise, compassionate part of you and ask that self. We've been doing a lot of compassionate self-work here on the podcast, but ask that self, what do you need me to do for you today? What is it that you need from me? And in my situation, my body was saying, you have to slow down. You have to have some peace and some space here. So that's why I'm here right now telling you guys that I'm going to take a break. And I've done this before. I know I have, and I know I've sort of shared this exact similar story, but I want to give you guys permission to do it too, again, right? Because these times are just so trying. Everybody's having a difficult time. Nobody knows what to do. Even like we said here in the I Did a Hard Thing, there is so much uncertainty. And I don't think we know how much of a toll that has taken on our body. And I'm not worried. I believe your body is resilient. I believe mine is resilient. And I trust our bodies immensely. But I also think we need to honor what this really is, which is a massive out-breath. It's a exhaustion. It's a way of taxing us. And so we have to recognize the importance of taking care of ourselves, really listening, really looking at, is there balance between my in-breath and my out-breath? How much I'm taking care of other people versus how much you're taking care of yourself. And can I honor just how hard this has been? Now, for those of you who are living in Australia, New Zealand, some of the other amazing countries that seem to be almost, done or dealing with in a really effective way with COVID-19, this may not resonate, but maybe it does. Maybe now that it's all done, maybe you feel like, wow, you're actually really recognizing how much this was a weight for you. But for us here in America, I think we're all collectively going into a stage of recognition that this is going to be here for a while. And this is no joke. And we're going to have to sort of double down in terms of our practices because it was a sprint and now it's a marathon. So given that, you probably need to pace yourself, and I need to pace myself. It's a huge lesson that I have needed to learn, and I really suck at learning it, but I'm trying to put it into practice. Doing this, taking a break, is really hard for me. I feel like I'm, holding up the defeat card. I feel like I'm holding up the, wasn't strong enough card. And even though I know none of that is true, I'm healing that piece of me because that piece of me is the piece that holds me in this unwell lifestyle. I know it's there. I used to run away from it, but now I just see it for what it is, which is nonsense. And I'm not going to abide by it, but it's still there. And it's probably some version of that is there for you too. So the healing is in the recognition of that and the validation of that, but also the correcting of that, like the disqualification of that theory. Okay. So that's where I'm at. What I will also add, just as a additional piece here, is we are, as a world, as an earth, as a planet, we are in a stage of grief. A lot of people are saying, I feel this weird feeling and it's not anxiety and I don't know what it is. And I often will say, sounds like what you're going through is grief, because we're grieving so much. We're grieving the time that's been lost and the graduations that didn't happen and the birthdays that didn't get celebrated, the life you thought you were going to have. We're grieving seeing our family. We're grieving the loss of human beings. I will share, I am in an immense stage of grief right now because I cannot get to my family. I mean, I can in that I would have to pull some crazy strings to get there and do some really serious quarantine. It's mandated and patrolled by the police and all the things in Australia. I am grieving the lack of options to see them. And it's hurting my heart. Now, I know so many millions and billions of people who feel exactly the way I feel. And if you have someone you're longing for right now, I see you and I hear you. And we must take into consideration the weight that that carries on us. That must be considered when we address what we need and how we're going to take care of ourselves, because grief, like anxiety, is heavy and painful and ouch. Really, really ouch. So what do? We take a deep breath. We bring some validation and recognition to that this is real. I deserve to feel this way. And then we give our bodies exactly what it needs. If it needs brownies, that's fine. If it needs to lay down in the grass and look at the sky, that's fine. If it means you need to cry, that's fine. If it means you need to take some time off, that's fine. Whatever it is you need, as long as it's not harming you, I encourage you to do so, because you matter and what you need matters. And you are deserving to get those needs met, as am I. And the faster that we can move into that place, the more we heal. And I'm really, really invested in healing right now. And to be honest, actually, I'll say another thing is I've found that immense growth happens during immense pain. And, I see this every day in my office. I see it with you guys who reach out to me. I see it on Instagram and social media. Of course, this is true. But right now, when COVID-19 is so heavy, I still want to encourage you to have hope that healing can still happen amongst this. Massive healing. Massive healing. So don't give up. Okay? So I'm signing off. I hope this validated you or gave you a little bit of a belief in yourself. I hope it helps you to stop and really give your body what it needs. And I hope it brings you some joy, because that's what I am invested in doing. Now, keep your eyes and ears on the podcast. If you're not subscribed, do, because there is a chance I'm going to have something really important I want to say and I can't not say it, and I'll probably jump on here and just do it real quick. That may or may not happen. I'm not sure. But if you want to be alerted to the possibility of that, go ahead and subscribe. What I will ask you to do, if you have the energy and the interest, I will ask you, while I'm not here, Go back and listen to the early podcast episodes. There's tons of good stuff in there. Go back and listen to your favorite episode that really hit you, because usually, things, once you've listened to them a couple of times, hit you in many ways. And if you feel so inclined, what will really help me throughout the time where I take a break is for you, if you could leave an honest review of the podcast. That would be really helpful. So that's that. That's where I'm at. I'm going to sign off. Think of me. I'll be resting and healing and rejuvenating and honoring my body's needs. And I hope you do too. All right. I love you. It is a beautiful day to do the hard thing. I'll be right back here very soon. And just know that you are strong, you are resilient, and you're not alone. Please note that this podcast or any other resources from cbtschool.com should not replace professional mental health care. If you feel you would benefit, please reach out to a provider in your area. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for supporting cbtschool.com.